Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to sew your very own wet bag. So there's a few things you're going to need for this project. You're going to need pins, some scissors. You're going to need a zipper. You can find this at your local craft store, at a Walmart. It needs to just be longer than whatever your wet bag width is going to be. And then you need 2 pieces of your outside fabric, your pretty fabric, and then 2 pieces of your pull or your waterproof fabric. Now this is optional. You can make this wet bag with just cotton inside if you want. You know, this doesn't have to be a tutorial just for a wet bag. It could just be a tutorial for how to make a zippered pouch, and you can put anything in it. But today I'm going to be using this pull fabric. So you can get really creative as far as whatever you want to use for your inside. So the measurements for today's wet bag are 10 inches by 7 inches. And remember, you need 2 of those for the interior. And then the exterior is the same, 10 inches by 7 inches. And then I'm also using a 15-inch zipper. You just want your zipper to be longer than the width of your fabric. You can use one that's the same length, but it gets really tricky trying to work it into your machine. So I recommend that you get a zipper that is longer than the width of your wet bag. So bring to the table your first piece of fabric. Make sure that the right side is up and the wrong side is down. If you're using directional fabric, you want to also make sure that the top of your direction, so like I have these cute little flower pots, and I unfortunately don't have a super good setup, so I have to film upside down, but my flower pots, I want the flower pots to be facing the right way, so I'm gonna lay my zipper out, and I like to put the zipper foot where the zipper starts from the left to the right. So I'm just gonna line these up like so, and it's really important that the zipper foot, the side that has the zipper foot, so this is the side that, you know, you can see it doesn't have the pull here, the zipper pull. You want the zipper pull to be facing down on your pretty side. This is your very first step, and once you get this step done, you don't have to worry about which side, you know, your zipper pull is facing, because it's already put in and it's good to go. So line that up, and then grab a piece of your interior fabric, and I'm using pull. Pull has a very shiny waterproof side, and then a rougher kind of cottony looking side, and we want the waterproof side to be facing down. Go ahead and grab some pins, and you're just trying to catch all 3 layers. The pretty side on the bottom, the zipper, and then the pull. As I go along, I just kind of keep checking to make sure that I have everything lined up. So then we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and we're just going to straight stitch all the way across. So I want to mention too, on your zipper, you want to have about a 3.0 stitch length. And then zippers can be quite tricky because they have these teeth here in the middle, right? There's this part here about 1/2 inch, and then the teeth, and then 1/2 inch. And what you're trying to do is sew right in between the edge of your zipper and the teeth. I find that sometimes you even have to use this hand and not push, because you don't want to put any pressure into your needle, but you're just kind of keeping your hand here and you're just kind of guiding it through, because what this wants to do with your foot is it wants to kind of spit the zipper out because the teeth are here. And so you can see my foot here is tipped just a little bit, and it just takes some practice. If it doesn't come out perfect, don't get really discouraged, just keep going, and on the next one you'll get better and better. It just takes practice. Align your 3 layers up again if they come unlined. And now if we open the wet bag, we can see that this is a nice finished seam. And if you're looking at it this way, your zipper pull should be facing up here. So go ahead, and I'm just going to finger press this. I'm not going to use an iron because this is like a plastic sort of polyester zipper, and I don't want to get the iron on that. So I'm just finger pressing this, just trying to flatten it out as much as I can. And then I'm going to flip the back, or the interior, to the back. And I'm just kind of pulling. I'm not anything vigorous, but I'm just kind of pulling on this zipper, and I'm just really gently kind of finger pressing this, because we're going to go back through on our machine, and we're going to sew right here along the edge just a nice straight stitch, just to lay that all out flat. Okay, so then we can look at the back. And if you want, so that your layers don't get messed up and this doesn't get pushed up into your zipper feet when you sew your straight stitch, I'm gonna put a pin in here and a pin here. And for any of those that are watching this and thinking, oh, she just put a pin through her waterproof fabric, now it's not waterproof. I'll tell you what, I have been working with Pull for 4 years now, and I've made a lot of pads and a lot of wet bags, and I can put a pin or two through this and I've never had any problem with it leaking. It does leave the tiniest of holes, but it actually kind of forgives itself, and where you put the hole, it kind of works itself back together. Never had any problem, you guys. So if you need to do that, if you don't have the little wonder clips, you know, you just have pins, it's totally fine, don't stress it. So now go to your machine and you're gonna make a straight stitch, just like 1/4 of an inch all the way down. All right, now that I'm back at the table, I'm gonna cut my threads off. I'm just gonna give you guys a quick little detailed glance at this so you can see here now that we have a straight stitch. And all this is doing is just holding these 3 layers together so that when your bag is finished and you're opening it and closing it, you don't have layers that are trying to get caught into your zipper. I'm gonna take the pins out. Now grab your other pretty cotton or your other side, and you want the wrong side facing down and the right side facing up. And you're gonna flip this over and put right sides together. These are such a fun and easy project. Really good for like gifts, or if you need something to organize things in your car or in your diaper bag or in your purse. You can make them any size that you want, which is really, really cool. And then grab your other Pull interior layer, or whatever you're using for the interior. And I guess for whatever purpose, you could call this like the interior or the pretty side, and this is the exterior or like the non-pretty side. So if you're just using a cotton fabric and you're not using waterproof, you would want this to be your pretty side. So your pretty side facing your other pretty side of interior fabric. I hope that makes sense. And then I'm just gonna pin, again, lining up all the layers. And since I already showed you guys how to sew along the zipper teeth, I'm gonna go ahead and sew a straight stitch across this and I'll be right back. All right, I've cut my threads off. And now I'm just gonna open this up, give it a little bit of a finger press, and look at that. We're about halfway through the construction of your wet bag. So on this side, I'm gonna come through and I'm just gonna finger press. Again, not using an iron. You can if you're gonna be really, really careful, but I don't like to risk melting this. Because if you want to take this thing apart and put a new zipper in it, no thanks. I'll just throw it away and buy a new zipper and make it again. Okay, so now go ahead and get your pins. If you want to make sure that your layers stay nice and flush together. And give a pin. And this one, you can see this one over here, not quite even, so we're just going to pull that out. Okay, so go ahead and take this to the machine and make a nice straight stitch about 1/4 inch away. All right, so now we have both straight stitched edges right here. Now, what you want to do, this is very important, very, very important. You want to open your zipper for this next part. If you do not open your zipper, then you're going to end up sewing and making the bag, and the zipper will be on the outside of your project. So I'm speaking from experience. So open it up about 3/4 of the way. And then what you want to do is you're going to bring these pretty sides together. Okay, and on the zipper teeth, you want to just make sure that your zipper teeth, let me see if I can show you closer up here. You want your zipper teeth to be facing the same way, okay? So first, you can worry about those zipper teeth in just a second. Just get the corners here lined up and put a few pins in. Oops, come here, you. All right, so now when you've hit the zipper teeth, you want the zipper teeth to be facing inward. See that? See how the zipper teeth could be facing out here to my nice fabric, or it could be facing the interior fabric, the Pull. We want it to be facing interior, okay? So we want the top teeth here to be facing the same direction. So line those up, and we're gonna put a pin right here in the middle to catch everything and hold it together. Okay, and then do the same thing. Go ahead and line this up. And if things don't line up absolutely perfect, don't sweat it, you guys. All right, flip it over. We're gonna do the other side. I'm kind of working right to left on this one, which it doesn't really matter. Okay, and then when you get to your zipper teeth, it's gonna be the opposite. So you see here, this is the edge of the zipper. And then right here, this is where the zipper teeth are, but it's closed, remember, because we closed it about 3/4 of the way. So on this side, you want this to be lined up like so. So your zipper is actually on this side, and then the two edges of your zipper come together. And we're gonna pin that. Okay, so then here on the pretty side, we're just gonna pop a couple of pins in there just to keep it in place. And then on your interior fabric, or your pull fabric, you wanna leave an opening about 2 or 3 inches. Doesn't have to be exact science, but that is where you're gonna flip your wet bag inside out when it's all finished. So now I've got all 4 sides pinned together, and I'm gonna come to the machine and I'm gonna start here at my hole or my opening. If you want, you could even use a little bit of a pen right here just to remind you not to sew this shut. If you do, it's no big deal. Just get your seam ripper and rip it open. But I wanna make sure that I backstitch when I start and stop here, right? So I'm gonna start, I'm gonna go all the way around, come through, and then I'm gonna backstitch again, just so this has some nice strength here when I flip everything inside out. When you go through your zipper teeth, you wanna go really slow and be careful and take your pin out. Like when you get to it, take your pin out. I busted a few needles going through these, and I don't say that to scare you, but don't just ramrod this thing through it full speed. Just slow down a little bit and it'll turn out okay. Alright, so I've got my threads cut off, and now we've got this whole thing sewn up. What you want to do is take your scissors, and you're just clipping the corners, and right here next to where you've sewed your zipper, just to get this extra bulk out of the way. Okay, and then we're going to just take our thumb and we're going to feed our thumb through to one of these corners. Let's pick this one. So I'm just kind of gathering with my hands, putting my thumb all the way down in this corner, and then using my middle finger here, so my middle finger touches my thumb, and I just kind of bring it through. I'm just feeding it through the berth of your wet bag, and then I just come to this other corner here on the nice fabric. I'm just going to poke it out with my middle finger. And just make this a real gentle process, but just kind of come through and push everything out. And I went ahead and grabbed my orange peeler. I use this orange peeler for everything when I sew, for like pushing corners out. It just works really well because it's not too sharp on the end, so it doesn't poke through my fabric, but I'm able to just come through here and just push things out really nice. Do the bottom. And I will mention, if you're using any kind of pull fabric or plasticky fabric, just make the stitch length on your machine a lot longer. Sometimes fabric like this doesn't like a really tight stitch length, so just make it longer and just go slow. Backstitch when you start and backstitch when you stop. Now I've sewed this out in the machine, and I used the gray thread just so you guys could see that. But I've got a nice stitch here where my opening was. And then all you need to do is turn the interior inside. And just use your fingers to kind of poke out the corners. I like to kind of poke out here where this zipper is. Just like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to see you on the next one. If you guys have any suggestions of videos you want to see for sewing or things that you'd like me to make, please leave a comment below, and I would love to do that for you. Until the next tutorial, see you later.